Do you struggle with Microsoft Excel or do you just dread learning it? Well, this video will help to put all these negative feelings aside. And I will walk you from starting with this empty Excel sheet to creating this professionally looking Excel sheet. So that by the end of this video, you will be thinking to yourself, wow, Excel isn't so bad after all. So, let's get ready to Excel. Excel.
Excel, Excel.
So when you open a blank Excel file, this is what you see. The heart of the screen is this grid here. It is broken up into columns and rows. The columns are referenced using letters like A, B, C, and so on, while the rows use numbers instead like 1, 2, 3, as you see here. Now where the columns and the rows meet is called a cell. No, not this type of cell. And the name of the cell is the combination of the column letter and row number. For example, here is column H, and here is row 7. And where they cross each other is at cell H7. You can also see H7 in the upper left corner here as well. Another thing to note in this Excel screen is that at the bottom of our screen, we see the word Sheet 1. This is the name of this particular Excel sheet. You see, an Excel file is called a workbook. And just like in real life workbook or notebook, we have sheets inside of the workbook, right? So inside this Excel workbook, we can also have sheets. And right now, inside this Excel workbook, we have just one sheet. We can also add more sheets by clicking on this plus sign like this. So now we have sheet 2. We will work with sheets more on other videos, so please look at my other videos in my channel. But for now, we will just work with one sheet. At the top of the screen, we have these tabs, like the File, Home, Insert, and so on. And below these tabs, we have this area which is called the ribbon. If you ever used other Microsoft Office applications like Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, you might already be familiar then with this interface. Actually, Microsoft worked really hard to create a consistent look and feel across their applications in order to make learning these different applications a bit similar and easier. And for that, I tip my hat off to Microsoft for doing a good job. Alright, back to the ribbon. The ribbon is also broken up into sections, or you can call them groups as well. For example, here we have the font group, where we can format our text using the font, size, color, making it bold, and so on. And please don't worry, I will go over most of these options later on in this video as we create our sample monthly payroll table. Now, to enter data, you simply start typing in any cell as you see fit. Most people start with the topmost left cell, which is cell A1, but it's not a must. You can start at any cell you want, and you can type in letters or numbers, plus much more. So for example, let's create a hypothetical monthly payroll sheet where we list a few made-up employees with their made-up monthly salaries. Now, me personally, I like to first enter all the raw data in, and when I'm done, then I start to format it so that it looks nice and professional. So I'll start by entering a title here, and I'll call it monthly payroll in cell A1. When I hit enter on my keyboard, I am moved to the cell that is under it. But if I press tab instead of enter on my keyboard, I am moved to the cell to the right of it. So do you get that? Basically, hitting enter takes me one cell down, while hitting tab takes me one cell to the right. Also notice how when I typed monthly payroll in cell A1, that the text seems to have carried over to cell B1? Does that mean that now I have text in both cells? Well, no, not really. You see, the text you type, depending on how long it is, will seem to have run off to the adjacent cell. But that's only a display thing. I mean, whatever cell you start typing in, and in this case it's cell A1, the text will only stay in cell A1. no matter how much text you type in there. So why does part of monthly payroll seem to be under column B? Well, that's because we need to stretch column A to fit the width of our text. Here are two ways to do this. The first way is to stretch or expand the column manually. Here's how. Look at my cursor on the screen. It's the regular plus sign, right? Well, if I bring my cursor and hover over the dividing lines between the columns like that, the cursor changes to a line with two opposing arrows. This means I can stretch the width of the column in either direction to make it wider or thinner, like this. I simply click, hold, and drag in either direction to get the width of the column that suits me. And when I stretch it long enough past my text, now I see that all this text is part of column A only, and my text no longer seems to run onto column B. And you can do this with any column or any row even, like this. For now, since I showed you how to expand and shrink columns and rows, I'll just undo my changes. By the way, to undo changes in Excel or any Microsoft Office application, you can use the shortcut key combination of Control-Z if you're using Windows, or for Macs, it's Command-Z. So don't be scared to make any changes in your Excel file, since you can simply undo them with a click of two buttons, either Control-Z for Windows or Command-Z for Macs. Now in cell A3, I'll type employee name. Then I'll make up a few names for our employees. Let's start with Jack. Then I hit enter on my keyboard. Then Jill. Hit enter. John. Hit enter. Dell. Hit enter. Mark. Hit enter. And finally, Sam. And starting from cell B2, I'll enter the names of the months to go across horizontally. And if you remember from a minute ago, I said that after I enter a value in a cell, if I want to move horizontally to the right, then I can just hit Tab on my keyboard. So then, here is January, then I hit Tab. And see, I move to the right. Then I type February, and I tab again. Now I can type out all the 12 months manually, but Excel has an awesome and cool feature where it understands the pattern you're typing and it can autofill it for us. Here's how. When you click on any cell, notice how in the bottom right corner there is a small green square. If you hover your mouse over it, the mouse changes shape into a plus sign. Then you click on it and hold, then drag it in the proper direction, and in this case it's to the right direction, and it will autofill the rest of the months for us. You can actually see the name of the month showing up in light font. Do you see it? So I would just keep dragging while still holding my mouse key until I come to where I want to stop it, and then I let go of my mouse button. And ta-da! I have my list of months. I could have actually done this automatic part with just typing the first month. So let me erase this and I'll show you. I'll just enter January, only this time. Then I'll use the same steps I explained moments ago by hovering over the bottom right corner, then click, hold, drag, and letting go here. This trick can be used with anything that comes in series, for example, days of the week. And I can do it vertically as well, like this. I type in Monday, then I hover over the bottom right corner, I click, I hold, and drag downwards. And you see the days of the week are auto-populating. So how cool is that, right? All right, so let me erase that part now, and let's continue with my example up here. Now I'm going to give Jack a monthly salary of $2,500. So I type in the cell where the January column intersects with the Jack row, which would be cell B4. I type in 2,500. And now here's a little teaser question to see if you are learning this or not. If I hit enter now on my keyboard from here where I am, from this cell B4, where will I go? If you said down, then you're absolutely right. And so I hit enter to go down one cell. Or if I need to go to the right direction, then I can hit tab instead of enter. And by the way, you can also click with your mouse to the next cell you want to go to. For example, after I type in cell B4, I can click on cell F8 right away, if that's where I want to go. So bottom line, we have the freedom to move anywhere at any time, either with keys on our keyboard or by using our mouse. So I have 2,500 in B4, and I want to fill the rest of the months with the same salary because it won't change. Now, there are a number of ways to do this. I can either manually type them out like this, 2,500, tab, 2,500, tab, 2,500, tab. But this is a very manual way, and as you can imagine, it's time consuming. So instead, we can do simply a copy and paste like this. I click on the cell that I want to copy. I use the Control-C keyboard shortcut. And if you're on a Mac, it would be a Command-C. Or instead of the keyboard shortcut, I can also go up to my ribbon, and in the clipboard section, I click on copy. And another way to do this is that I can right-click on the cell itself and choose copy. Notice how the copied cell now has white dots around it? This means that it's been copied. So with my mouse, I left-click on the cell and I drag to whichever direction I want to copy it to, and then I let go. Let me do this again. I click on the cell I want to copy, and I just click and drag, and then I let go. And then I press either Control-V on my keyboard to paste it, or I right-click on any of the cells and choose Paste. Or another option, from the ribbon, I can just choose Paste as well. Now there's a much easier way than this. If you remember a few minutes ago, I showed you the little green square at the bottom right corner of the cell. We can use this same trick with copying and pasting as well, like this. I hover over the bottom right corner of the cell that I want to copy. My cursor turns to a plus sign. I just click, hold, and drag, and I let go where I want to stop. See? Another cool feature from your friendly application Excel. So are you feeling a bit better about Excel now? I hope the more you watch this video, the more you will experience a sense of relief towards Excel. It's not so bad, right? Alright, let's continue typing in the data we need for this table. I'll give Jill a $3,500 monthly salary. So I'll type 3,500 in cell B5. Then I'll use my quick trick for copying data by hovering over the lower right corner and just dragging it over to here. Now I'm going to fast forward the coming few seconds to fill the rest of the data for you, since it's all repetitive data entry. Okay, so now I have all my monthly salaries entered into this Excel sheet. The next skill we need to learn is how to calculate totals. For example, what is the total salary of employees for the month of January? Well, Excel makes this very simple for us. I click on the cell where I want my total to be calculated, and displayed. So in this case, I will choose cell B11. And let me add the words monthly totals in cell A11 just for organizational purposes. Alright, back to cell B11. Then the quickest way is to just click on this icon up in the top right here. This is the Greek letter sigma, which we use in Excel to find the sum of numbers. So I just click on it and see how it creates for me a sum formula. If you look up here in the input bar, it says equals sum B4 colon B10. This means it will calculate the sum of numbers in the cell range B4 through B10. I hit enter on my keyboard, and we, my friend, just completed our very first formula in Excel. So I think this calls for a pat on the back now. And now that we did our first sum formula, we need to do the same for the other months as well. And based on what we learned moments ago, we can do this in a very simple way. We just hover over the bottom right corner, just over the green square, until the cursor turns into a thin plus sign. Then we click, hold, drag, and then we let go. I see that the totals are the same, and that's because the salaries are the same. But if we examine each cell, we will see that they use the same formula, but the cell range changes as we move across the screen. For example, if I click on cell B11, it shows that it's calculating the sum for cells B4 through B10. Then I click on the next cell, and it shows that it's calculating the sum for cells C4 through C10. Again, that's one reason why I love Excel, because it makes all these calculations very easy for us. And by the way, I will be making a video on more Excel formulas because there's so many of them and they do deserve their own separate video. So far we calculated the totals for the monthly salaries, and this was done vertically. We can apply the same exact logic but in the horizontal direction as well. For example, I want to show what is each person's total yearly salary. So for our first employee, this one being Jack, I want to add all his salaries for the 12 months and display the total in column N here. First, let's give the column a header, and I'll call it yearly salary totals in cell N2. Then I would just click on cell N4, and to get the sum of the salary for Jack, I just click on the sigma icon, and you will see that Excel is smart enough to know that I want the total for all numbers to the left of this cell, which is the range of cells from B4 to M4, as it shows here. I then hit enter to confirm this formula. Now to fill the rest of the column, we just hover over the bottom right green square, click, hold, and drag, then let go. And boom, we have our totals. And believe it or not, we are actually done with our data entry portion for this Excel file. So, you feeling better about Excel now? Alright, so I told you that the way I like to approach Excel sheets is to first enter all my data, and then I start to format everything. And since we just finished the data entry portion, let's start formatting. Trust me, this will be fun. Now, if you are familiar with Microsoft Word, then most of the formatting will be similar in Excel as well, at least the basic formatting options. For example, let's make our employee names stand out a bit by making the font in bold. So I just highlight the words that I want to format, then I click on the B icon, which stands for bold, and now it makes it bold. I can also make it in italics or underlined, as well as change the font and the size. But for now, I'm happy with what I have. For our title, I want to make it grand and stand out more than the employee names. And for this, I'll use some of Excel's built-in cell styles. So I'll click on Cell Styles over here in the Styles group, and as you can see, there are so many options. You can actually see how the title changes just by hovering over the Cell Style option, like this. See? So we are getting a preview of how the format will look before we commit to it. Now, I like heading 1, so I'll click on that, and boom, we have a nice looking title for now. But I also want to center my title with my table, instead of being all the way to the left here. So I go to my alignment group, and these 3 icons here allow us to align the text either left, center, or right. And since I want to make it center, I click on this center icon. That doesn't look right. These alignment options are only for the cell you're in, but I want to center the text of this cell over the entire table, not just this cell. So, as usual, Excel has a simple solution to this problem. I simply click on the cell and I highlight it to where the end column is, or the last column, and I go up to my alignment group and I click on this merge and center icon. And right away, this looks much better. Alright, enough with my sound effects. Let's continue with our fun formatting. For the months, I'll highlight them first by clicking and dragging. Then I'll go back to the cell styles and I'll choose heading 2. And for my monthly totals, I'll highlight them first. Then I'll choose total cell style. See how cool this was and how easy it was? Another thing I would like to do is add the $ to my numbers, which will add a layer of clarity and accuracy since we will be dealing specifically with US dollar amounts and not any other currency. So to do this, we simply highlight the cells by clicking and dragging. Then in the number group, I can click on the $, or if you want to use another currency, you can click on the pull down arrow and get even more options. See? But for my example, I'll choose the US dollar. But we still have decimals, and if we don't want decimals, we can click on this icon, which when you hover over it, it says decrease decimal. So I click on it once, it removes 1 decimal. Then click on it once again, and boom, the number now looks the way I want it to look without any decimals. I still have some minor formatting touches that I need to do. For example, I want the employee names to be flushed to the right of the column instead of how they are right now, which is flushed to the left. And to do this change, I simply highlight the cells that I want to format, and then in the alignment section, I click on the Align Right icon. Alignment is sometimes a preference thing, and for my personal preference, I like the names to be flushed to the right. You may certainly leave them on the left if that's your preference. Another change is to center the names of the months in their own cells, because right now they are aligned to the left. It's always better to center column names or column headers. So to do this formatting change, we again highlight the cells that we want to change, and we click on the center icon in the alignment section. And finally, I want to make the yearly salary totals as bold text. So I click on the yearly salary total cell, and then I click on bold. Now, let's sit back and reflect on what just happened over the last few minutes. I started with a blank Excel file, I covered the basic interface of Excel, and then I entered data, and finally I applied formatting to end up with this professionally looking table. So this is a great achievement, and you really stuck around to the end. And we all learn through different means and at different paces. For example, I'm the type of person that has to read something new more than once for it to sink in. And if I'm watching a video tutorial, like this one, I usually also have to watch it more than once for me to pick up the new skill. or at least I keep going back to the parts that I still don't understand. The point is, it's okay how different we learn, and we all have to start somewhere. But the bottom line is, I'm confident you can do it. Now there's more to Microsoft Excel than what I covered in this video, so please click on any of the videos here to continue learning Excel. And if you found this video helpful, please do like it, and if you like my teaching style and want to learn more, please subscribe and click on the bell icon. Also, I would love to get your feedback in the comments section so I may know how I can improve on my videos to help you out more. And I'm always up for any suggestions on future videos that you would like to see. And I gladly make new videos based on your comments. So please don't hesitate to say what's on your mind, and I promise to do my best to help out with more videos that you need. And so I will leave you with this final question. Did this video deliver on its promise to make you realize that Excel is not so bad after all? I look forward to your comments. Bye for now.